Let me say a personal word about Dr. Francis Collins. We have been friends, he and I have been friends for many, many years. I think we first met years ago when we were both speaking at the Davos World Economic Forum.
I'm here at Davos with a lot of my friends, and we're talking about what are the biggest problems on the planet and how we're going to solve them. Extreme poverty, pandemic diseases. There's a role for the public sector, there's a role for the private sector, and there's a role for the faith sector. Each of them can do something that none of the other three can do. Government has a role to set agenda. Government has a role to set priorities and things like that and move nations. But then also houses of worship have things that businesses and government will never have. In the first place, we have universal distribution. The church was global 200 years before Davos ever talked about globalization. So we have to mobilize these faith groups to work together on these issues that have been unsolvable. The church has, of course, the greatest distribution. We also have the biggest manpower. We have hundreds of millions of people who volunteer around the world in villages and cities on a weekly basis, and we don't have to pay them. The third thing that they have is they have local credibility. At the local level, people trust that priest or that pastor, or for that matter, an imam or a rabbi, the religious leader of their faith, because he's marrying, he's burying, he's helping them through the stages of life. When the crisis comes, NGOs come and go, nations come and go, but for instance, the church has a 2,000-year track record. So I really think that what we need to do here at Davos is to work on a three-legged stool. The problem we haven't solved these issues before is because we've had a two-legged stool. We've had government and business trying to work together. And that's a good thing. But a two-legged stool will fall over. You have to have the faith sector, you have to have the public sector, and you have to have the private sector.
And we were two of the few Christians that were actually there at the time, and we just hit it off and spent some time together while we were there.
We're talking about improving biology and redesigning organisms for beneficial purposes. It's going to allow us to not just edit genomes, but also, and importantly, write a new code for life. We'll have right-level permissions. We already started to see some of that this year. COVID-19 vaccines, they make use of engineered code in the form of messenger RNA.
I want to say I personally know Francis Collins to be a man of integrity. He is a man that you can trust. I want to assure you, he is a nonpartisan scientist. And on top of that, he's a Christian brother in Christ.